Hi, I'm Alice, and I haven't worn a bra in so long that the extremely high humidity in my room facilitated mold growth on my bra. And that's how you know that I'm a plant slut. So I did just want to mention that I know that these videos have sort of been made, and just a couple of days ago Botanical Woman on eBay started like a series of like how to choose a seller and stuff. So that was a bit off-putting, but like I'd planned the video, I hadn't filmed it, and then I was like, oh no, I won't do it, and I was like, well actually, you know, nobody's done like an Australian perspective, and I'm not sure how many people are into plants in Australia. Like, there's a lot of shops, so I assume there's people, but then you don't see Australian plant YouTubers. Like, I follow a couple, but there aren't that many of us, so hopefully there's people who are into plants in Australia. I mean, there are, because I know people. Today's video is a basic guide to buying plants online in Australia. So if you're watching this video, you probably like plants, and you probably live in Australia. So that's same. We have that in common. Cool. First off, I definitely want to say support your local businesses. If you have one of those cool plant shops that we have, go there near you. If you have one near you, strongly recommend. You know, people have great advice and shit. For me, I don't drive, so I mean, it's kind of difficult to get to any of the cool plant shops. You know, there's a few around Adelaide where I live, but yeah. Oh, there is a local garden centre, but it's less cool, you know? Like, it's cool, but it's not cool. It's hard for me to imagine someone who's into plants and who hasn't bought plants online before, because that's my thing. That's what I do. That's all I do. But yeah, I just feel like there's probably people out there, and there's definitely, I haven't seen a care guide on how to shop, not a care guide, like a video about buying plants online if you're from Australia and what it's like. First off, if you're really new to buying things online and you've seen videos of people from all over the world shopping online and getting plants from Thailand or Indonesia, you definitely can't do that. It sucks, but we just have too many pretty plants and animals to risk it. I feel like in a lot of instructional videos on how to buy, why can't I say that? How to buy plants online, people are always afraid of eBay. And I don't know if that's just because US eBay sucks, or I'm not sure what that whole thing is, but that's where I mainly get plants from. In terms of sellers, I have tried other websites, and I've got a little bit of an unboxing. Don't shake it. From one of those websites. I mean, when I say weird websites, I don't mean like your mainstream Maytherani or Green Leaves or the big ones. I mean like those weird little obscure things. Like if you're looking for a specific species, like often you just won't find anything, but occasionally you'll find some weird little website. There's one called Westlaw Flowers. Don't go on there. I need the plants from there for me. But just as an example, Westlaw Flowers is a good one. In Australia, you're pretty good. Like, I've never had my money stolen and not received something. Like, if you're afraid of that, just don't be. Just trust. Just trust. I mean, don't be crazy, but trust. So eBay is pretty good with being able to narrow down what you're looking at. So what I do when I go on eBay, the other thing is that people seem afraid of auctions and they associate eBay with auctions, but I honestly never, I mean I did recently and that was a bad idea, but I never do auctions. It's always, there's a little button at the top and you can choose buy it now. So that's only things that you can directly buy without having to bid or whatever. The other thing you need to do if you're in Australia, you need to scroll down and you've got on your sidebar, scroll down a bit, and then it'll say where do you want things to come from, you know, all over the world or just Australia, and you've got to tick that Australia box because otherwise it'll show you stuff that you can't get or that you could buy and not get. So don't do that, obviously. And then also you just go up to the top, you click in order of price plus postage lowest first, and then postage is something that you really need to consider, especially on eBay, because it does vary from item to item and seller to seller. You absolutely need to work out in your head the price plus the postage, because if you're just looking at the price, it's going to mess with your head. Because I did it recently for the auction that I mentioned. I bid, which it's even harder to do your price plus postage if the price is constantly changing. It just messes with my head at least, and that's why I do buy it now usually. But I recently bid on something and I was like, oh, $20, I can bid 20, that's fine. I'd be willing to pay $20 for that thing. But postage was like 15, and then I was like, oh, 25, I could pay 25, and I did. So then I paid $40 for something that was worth about $20. So avoid auctions, basically. It's my first tip. And a good tip for eBay and also for weird websites is definitely don't spend a lot on your first order. If you're buying from someone for the first time, keep it small. Keep it small, but also what I like to do is buy a few things so it's worth the postage. But probably if I was buying from someone for the first time, I might just buy one thing. I definitely did buy just one thing when I went to Westlaw for the first time. And it came and it was great, so the next time I bought a couple of things. So with a lot of websites, you'll just be able to see, with eBay, you'll be able to see what the shipping is straight up. And then with something like, I think Hoyer Store Australia, you can do, at the bottom of your cart, I think there's a postcode thing you add in that gives you an estimate of the shipping. But with some websites, what you'll need to do is do a little fake buy. So you've got your order in your cart and you want to know how much shipping is going to be for all you ship. So what you do is you go checkout, and then you'll put in your address, but you haven't put in your billing information yet. You just don't put in your billing information anywhere to get shipping. Like, that's ridiculous. Why would you put in your billing information before? And if websites are set up like that, I just leave. Like, it's not dodgy, but it is kind of dodgy, you know? I don't know, I've never, obviously I've never purchased from a website that didn't tell me what the shipping was going to be, so I can't tell you if it's actually a dodgy website, but pro tip if you're a website designer, I don't want to pay before I know what I'm going to pay. My next thing is about the actual shipping itself. Occasionally websites will just have one courier service that they go through, and I mean, that's fine, there's nothing you can do about that, but generally if you're paying extra for a courier, it's not worth it, because Ozpost is the bomb. I can't really tell you how long it's going to take for something to ship to you, but to me in Adelaide, things from the East Coast, Queensland, New South Wales generally takes over a week. Victoria, it's a bit less, a week or less. I don't think I've ever bought anything from WA. On eBay, sometimes you'll be able to pick between priority shipping and just basic. And I mean, this is all from my perspective, so it might not apply to you, especially if you live like in Sydney and you're ordering things from Sydney all the time, or from Queensland, because that's not going to take as long. But for me, if I've got the option, I always just go regular, because priority, like this, the thing that came today was priority, and that's taken less than a week to get here, but I've had priority things take like a week. The other thing that often people do on eBay, definitely, and I'm not sure about other stores, but they'll often ship on a Monday so that your package isn't trapped in a post office over the weekend. But because things often take a week to get to me, I don't really give a shit if they post on a Monday, because it's going to take a week anyway. It's going to be trapped in a post office somewhere anyway. And that, for me, isn't something to worry about, because I've never had a bad shipment. But if that's something that you are concerned about, just take that into account. Like when you're buying something, often you'll have to buy like before Sunday evening so that they can get things ready to post on a Monday. So keep that in mind. But yeah, if you're really worried about your plants, ask for priority. People on eBay will generally just send you an extra invoice and you'll just pay that as well. But to be honest, with our climate, it doesn't really matter. I probably would avoid buying things during the summer because it gets really hot. But during the winter, it's honestly almost better. Like probably if you lived in Victoria or Tasmania, you might not ship during the summer. I mean, the winter, because it is quite cold. But a lot of the big issue in the US and wherever about shipping is shipping things over the winter, because the cold, like the plants will get frozen and arrive to you dead. But we don't really get that sort of winter here. It doesn't really matter how cold it gets. It's probably not going to damage your plants that badly. But the heat will. So avoid it. And I mean, even that said, I've definitely ordered things over 40-degree weather and had them show up fine, but I've been very worried about them. I mean, I've bought stuff through sellers that ship with a courier, but I've never had a problem with it, so I don't know about making claims or, you know, if a package gets lost. I don't have experience with that. But with Ozpost, they're extremely good. You just do it online, you make a little claim. If something's taken more than a week and a half, 2 weeks, a little thing pops up by itself. Like the program that they use recognizes that that's probably not what should have happened, and then you can make a claim on their website if you've got a tracking number. If you don't have a tracking number, you're fucked. I think you could probably like call them and say, I lost it, but I don't even, like, how would they know what it, I don't know. Anyway, Ozpost is generally pretty great. And during COVID, I've had things that have been a little slow to come. And like a cunt, I made a little claim because it was like 2 weeks, and I was like, And what happened, it's happened twice now during COVID because I'm a cunt. And you just go on there, you make a little claim, and then like a couple of days later the package shows up. So it's just that it got to the distribution center near me, but it just got a bit stuck. But it was fine, you know, as long as you're on top of you know, basically when a package should arrive. And eBay's really good at that because it'll list your orders and the estimated delivery times. So it's really good for keeping track of things if you go crazy and order a lot of shit. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, if you've got a local plant shop, that's your golden ticket. Especially if you've got one of those cool ones. There's a few around Adelaide that I know of that probably charge a little more, but you get experience and you get the choice of picking the plant that you want and seeing it, you know, knowing that it's going to be okay, and just now it's home. That is a great thing. Shipping plants can be a little stressful. A little. If you're a little bit intense with what you buy. But generally, if you keep in mind when you're buying of how it's going to ship, and that can be tricky if you've never bought plants before, and most things are going to be fine, but something like a fern, I would not order a fern online at all, ever. I did, and it was fine, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because they are quite tender. I wouldn't order plant seedlings, young plants, really. I have bought younger plants before that just, they sort of looked a bit shit when they got here and then they just sort of crumpled. But that said, some things are fine. Like, not everything has died. Sorry, aspect changed because the sun was pissing me off. But yeah, sort of 3 things you want to keep in mind are your plant type, the distance that the thing has to travel, and the weather. So weather, you're generally pretty good if it's not in the middle of summer. Distance, on eBay it's easy because you can see, you know, where the person is. But with other websites, sometimes you have to dig around a bit. Generally in Australia it's coming from Queensland, but you never know. So yeah, as I was saying about your smaller local plant shops, they're really good for a bigger purchase. Like, I wouldn't order a variegated monstera on the internet. I would do that in person. Like, even if you don't have a plant shop close to you, make a trip. Like, I feel like I'd rather spend, you know, $50 on petrol than like have that stress of having something so expensive in the post. I mean, like, I've bought laptops online for more money than that, but I just, what if it died? That would make me sad. Yeah, so I would say bigger purchases, do them in store. Support your local businesses. And then smaller stuff online. I wouldn't spend more than $50 online. I feel like that would be too stressful. Well, on an individual plant, mixed orders is that's a different thing. So another couple of things to keep in mind is it's gonna look shit when it gets here, when it gets to you. And it's totally up to you. But when I'm buying plants online, in the back of my head I'm thinking, am I willing to pay whatever the price is for a cutting? Because at the end of the day, if shit goes wrong and it gets held up somewhere for a couple of weeks, or it goes through some hot weather, the plant could look like shit, but you're probably still going to be able to save it. And are you willing to pay that amount of money for just like a piece, you know? And that will grow back, obviously. But are you willing to put in that effort as well as paying that price? And that's something to sort of keep in mind. Like, if it shows up dead, was it worth it? Was it worth the opportunity to kill something. That's the way I look at it. And that if it does show up shit, that you've got a plan in mind. Like, how would I propagate this thing? You know, would I do it in moss? Would I do it, does it need a heat bed? Does it need humidity? How am I going to get this thing back if it's dead? And I feel like doing that sort of thinking helps you understand your plant and how you're going to care for it in the future. You know, if you can bring it back from the dead, then you could probably care for it and keep it alive. So one thing on eBay, and I think it's mostly on eBay, usually on other websites is, on other websites you'll be seeing the plant that you're going to buy, generally speaking. But on eBay especially, people will often post just a photo of the plant or the mother plant, and you'll have to make sure you flip through to the end to see if it's a cutting or whatever, and read down the bottom. You know, is it a cutting? Is it a 2-node cutting? Is it a rooted cutting? Or are you buying an actual plant? Are you buying the plant pictured? And if it doesn't say, 1, dodgy, and 2, maybe they just forgot and you should ask them. They forgot to write it or whatever. So do message your sellers, whether they're on eBay or via email, via email for a website, and ask exactly what you're paying for. Because something might have gone wrong that you don't understand yet. And I definitely recommend communicating with sellers. I've had really good responses before. I've had a couple of bad ones. But generally people are really helpful. And if it was something to do with their packaging is a big deal on PlantTube. But I mean, they probably haven't sent themselves a plant before. So think about that. Why would they do that? So they might not know how plants arrive. And if you tell them that it wasn't great, and if you have recommendations for how they could have done better, let them know. And see what their response is. Like, let them respond, obviously. And if they have a bad response, give them a bad review. If they have a good response, take that into account. You know, maybe they'll give you a discount code or some bullshit. Another good point is, if it's shit, take a photo. Because that can help you maybe get a refund, or if you had insurance, like maybe if it was like a Ozpost issue. I think there's an insurance program with Ozpost. I've never used it because you just don't need it because they're so great. You know, definitely take a photo. Like if the box is fucked. You've done the shit. You've chosen your seller. You've got the plant. And there's a box. There's a box at your door. So if you don't have time to open it, that's a poor excuse. Open it. This is from, where's my knife? What is it called? Uprooted. They are an online store. They seem to mostly sell plugs, which, that's another good point. So it's, things could come in plugs. That's not a good point, Alice. That's just a comment. Where are we going? Yeah, so you've got your package. You have opened it. I don't want no that was the blade side. I don't want to rip it in. Let me be careful. Yeah, so you get the things, you take them out. It's simple. Then you want to, if you're Australian, then you will soak it in sea salt. I mean, what else would you do with it? Put it in sea salt. I don't have any at the moment, so I won't be doing that. Also, Charlie carp is a good alternative, but don't leave it open for so long that a different bacteria colony forms in it and then it kills your plants. But Charlie carp is great as well. Or if you don't have either, get some warm water. Not freezing cold, not hot, just tepid. And you're going to soak your plants in it. If they're dry. If they're dry when they arrive. Or close to dry. If they are wet, you are not going to soak them because you will rot them. I think that's one thing that people don't really mention. If a plant is sent wet, do not soak it. Probably because it's pretty simple and I'm being crazy. But I've had that struggle before because usually things arrive dry and I'm like, oh, just plop them in. But one time something arrived wet and I was like, do I do it? And you don't. You will kill it. Too much water is a bad thing. So for most houseplants, if you've got a humidifier, put it near it because they're gonna have been in a box. Just give them, give them what they want, but gently. So a nice soft bit of humidity, not direct sunshine. No matter what plant it is, even if it's like a succulent, I still probably wouldn't give it direct sunshine because that's going to shock it because it's just been in a dark box, not being able to photosynthesize, and then it's going to be like, boom, like shining a torch in your eyes when you've been asleep in a box for a week, and then you wake up and someone's shining a torch in your eyes. Not good, not friendly. Don't do that. So gentle light, nice bit of humidity, probably not for a succulent, just gentle light for a succulent. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything I can think of. Let me know down below what you do with your plants. And if you haven't ordered before and you've got more questions, down below. Bye. I forgot to unbox. So this is from a place called Uprooted. I don't know where they're from, but they included a plant tag for a peperomia. I think I did. So should take in. They mostly do they mostly seem to do plugs, which is just tiny baby plants. Generally they're tissue cultured, so they start off, as a cell, and they grow into tiny baby plants. Although I think you could probably, you could do a cutting as a plug, I guess. But yeah, they've taken a long time to get to this size. So it makes sense for them to have been started in such a small plug, whereas a cutting is going to be a lot quicker, really. Or at least to root. So this is Philodendron tortum, which is similar to elegans, and I'm not really sure what the difference is, and I feel like I've googled it, and tortum is like an undescribed variety, like we're not really sure what that is, but it's cute. It doesn't look so cute when it's immature, but when it grows up it sort of looks like a palm, and I'm into that. And then this is just get off the light. What is it called? Spathiphyllum sensation. So it's a peace lily, but it's the big boy. I thought it would be cute to grow a giant plant from a tiny plant. So these are basically fillers. Just sticky. They're basically fillers for this guy, to make up the shipping and stuff. I think shipping was $15, and the plugs were like $5 or something. And then this is, yikes. Peperomia turboensis, I think. If not, the correct name will be here somewhere. You know, I think this was 25. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really into peperomias. I thought this was the one for me. You know, a couple of times over the years I thought this is the one for me. This is the one that I'll actually like. And actually I do like Peperomia prostata, the string of turtles. I mean, nothing against uprooted. This is a lovely plant. This is a lovely, lovely plant. I'm just generally on peperomias. Not my gang. Not my gang. Just not my gang. Anyway, do the stuff I said before. Comment your shit in the shit box, and I'll spew some shit back to you.